حمایت از قیام مردم ایران. اجلاس کمیته بریتانیایی برای آزادی ایران در پارلمان انگلستان. خانم مریم رجوی: دیوار وحشت در جامعه ترک برداشته و قیام وارد دومین ماه خود شده است. اعتراضات ضد رژیم روزانه گسترش پیدا می کند. شهرها و لایه‌های اجتماعی جدیدی به قیام می پیوندند.
روز سه‌شنبه 26 مهر 1401 اجلاس کمیته بریتانیایی برای آزادی ایران در پارلمان انگلستان در حمایت از قیام و مقاومت ایران با حضور گروهی از نمایندگان پارلمان از احزاب مختلف به ریاست بارونس ورما برگزار شد. در این جلسه خانم مریم رجوی در مورد تحولات قیام سراسری ایران و خواسته‌های مردم از جامعه بین المللی صحبت کرد. شرکت کنندگان در این اجلاس نمایندگانی از 5 حزب انگلستان در پارلمان این کشور عبارت بودند از نمایندگان ترزا ویلیرز، نماینده و وزیر سابق ایرلند شمالی و وزیر محیط زیست، لیام فاکس، وزیر سابق دفاع، هیلاری بن، وزیر خارجه سایه سابق، کاندیدای رهبری حزب کارگر، استیو مککیب از رؤسای مشترک کمیته بریتانیایی برای آزادی ایران و ناظم پارلمانی سابق، نماینده آنا فرد، جیم شانون، سخنگوی حزب اتحاد ملی ایرلند، مارتین دی از مسئولین حزب ملی اسکاتلند، سر راجر گیل، معاون سابق حزب محافظه‌کار، ایان پیزلی و سامی ویلسون از مجلس عوام. همچنین بارونس ورما، وزیر سابق انرژی و توسعه بین المللی، بارونس میچر، لورد هنری بلینگهام، معاون وزیر خارجه و لورد دالاکیا، معاون رهبری حزب لیبرال دموکرات، لورد هریس و لورد سینگ، عضو کمیسیون آزادی مذاهب از مجلس لردهای انگلستان و آقای طاهر بومدرا، رئیس سابق کمیته حقوق بشر نمایندگی سازمان ملل در عراق. در آغاز جلسه بارونس ورما ضمن خوشامدگویی به حاضران خانم رجوی را دعوت به سخنرانی کرد.
Dear friends and colleagues, thank you for joining us with Madame Rajvi today. And it's a great honor to allow me to welcome you on behalf of my colleagues and myself to the UK Parliament. It is an honor to host this meeting and to have you as the President-elect of Iran's organized popular resistance movement with us, and to hear your remarks with regards to what is happening in Iran and its future prospects. For us, it will be interesting to know the prominent and crucial role that has been played by women, especially the resistance units of women and young girls in organizing the protests in Iran. So, Madam Rajvi, I'll put it over to you to address all of us here in the Parliament of UK.
Thank you, dear Baroness Verma, for your kind words. Distinguished members of the Parliament, friends of the Iranian people's resistance, greetings to you all. I would like to focus on 3 issues and would be more than glad to hear your views. First, present situation and the progress of the protests in Iran. Second is the issue of women. And third, the duties of the international community. The first issue, the people of Iran have risen up against the mullahs. The regime's suppression and violence have not been able to stop the protests. The wall of fear in society has cracked. The uprising has entered its 2nd month. The anti-regime protests expand daily. More cities and new social sectors join the nationwide protests. The IRGC has so far murdered at least 400 protesters. In the city of Zahedan, the capital of Sistan and Balochistan province, in the southeast, just in one day, they killed some 100 of our fellow Baluch citizens, including 28 children. The killing of Mahsa Amini, an innocent young woman, shocked the world. Since then, many more young women like Nika Shakarami, Sarina, Ghazale, Hanane, and Asra, a 15-year-old high school student, have been murdered or arrested by security forces. 3,500 members of the Iranian Medical Society have signed a statement. They announced that security forces in Iran use ambulances to transport regime's repressive forces or transfer the arrested citizen to prisons. At least 20,000 people have been arrested so far. Just a few days ago, IRGC forces stormed Evin prison in Tehran to suppress prisoners for chanting slogans in support of uprising and against the regime. They committed a terrible crime in Evin that shocked the world. In a similar incident a week ago, on the 9th of October, the regime set fire to Lakan prison in Rasht. All indications are that the fire in Evin was pre-planned. The UN and the Security Council must hold the clerical regime's leaders accountable for the crimes they commit every day. Like the 1988 massacre of 30,000 political prisoners, they stop at nothing to preserve their rule. In recent days, the Mullah's supreme leader, Khamenei, and his president, Ebrahim Raisi, have repeatedly emphasized the decisive crackdown on protesters. They are responsible for the massacre of 30,000 political prisoners in 1988. They ordered the massacre of at least 1,500 protesters during the uprising in November 2019. And today, they are actively leading the killing machine against young people and teenagers in Iran. They must be brought to justice by international courts. The mullahs' brutality has an obvious reason. They see the end of their regime. Regardless of any ups and downs, the protests have left no future for the mullahs. The second topic, which is the central issue of the present uprising in Iran, is that the brave young women of Iran are leading the way and the world admires their role. Iranian women have been deprived of their fundamental freedoms and rights over the past 4 decades. Nevertheless, they have always been at the forefront of the anti-regime struggle. Tens of thousands of women have been tortured and executed for resisting the mullah's regime. For many years, I have pointed out that Iranian women are the force that will eventually topple the mullah's religious dictatorship. All Iranian protesters, including women, reject any kind of dictatorship, and they want regime change as their primary demand. Iranian people are chanting in the streets that we are against all oppressors, be it the Shah or Khamenei. They shout angry slogans against Khamenei as their main target. The regime's officials come out one after the other and acknowledge that the people oppose the regime in its entirety. Iranian women know very well that the freedom of choice in all personal, social, and political fields, including freedom to choose their attire and their right to political and social participation is possible only if the mullah's religious dictatorship is overthrown. Therefore, their determination to fight the regime is to bring freedom to all the people of Iran. Today, the Iranian people's unity in their struggle to overthrow the religious dictatorship guarantees equality and justice in tomorrow's Iran. The Iranian resistance ensures the establishment of a republic based on democratic values, including people's votes, free elections, separation of the religion and state, gender equality, social justice, and the elimination of all sexual, ethnic, and religious discriminations. Dear friends, Iran is on the verge of a major change. It is time for Western governments to reconsider all their relations with the criminal regime. Yesterday, the EU adopted some sanctions against the clerical regime. It was a positive step forward, but not enough at all. It is time for the world to recognize the Iranian people's right to overthrow the mullahs, religious fascism, and their right to self-defense in the face of the regime's brutal attacks. The Iranian people demand the closure of the regime's embassies that are center of espionage and terrorism, as well as expel of regime's agents from all countries. Thank you very much.